Hello, platypus people, and welcome back for another one. The handicapped helper. so, um, kind of getting back to the prosthetic leg. This thing, when you first have your surgery, it's all bandaged up and it has to heal the stitching. But when they remove the dressings and all the compression wraps, you're going to transition into something that's called the shrinker. I first was calling the scruncher, which is basically the same thing. It's a compression sock for your residual, and you may have seen it in some of the other videos. It's just basically a black gumbolini, like we say back in Jersey, a toboggan, but it's no different than a compression sock with the grippies that it has. It's a little hat, and you basically put it over like that to help mold and keep the residual limb kind of together as it heals, because there's a lot of healing process going on. I mean, if it's an above the knee amputation, the femur bone is cut above the joint, so it's not connected to anything. All the vasculature is shunted and brought together, so you have adequate flow. The nerves are kind of random, it's pretty bad. There was a lot of numbness for a long time. The bone tends to move around a little bit, which is not a pleasant feeling, especially if it hits a nerve or pinches a nerve. And yeah. But anyway, if you ever like getting in and out of the shower, always wear one of these for multiple reasons. One of it being to get the shrinking process, to kind of hold it together as it heals, and all that. There's a lot of scar tissue that's forming, and scar tissue is kind of painful when it forms, and so hey, Motrin and Tylenol. But anyway, this is the shrinker. But when you first have, like, as you see now, this is kind of worn out, but you can get them online. But I pretty much have no problem putting it on, and I just always wear them, like, unless I'm outside and I take it off just to get some sunlight. I'll even wear it when I enter the shower, because when I do that slide board thing, like I talked about, um, you'll feel some movement, and this is just like kind of holds it together. There's prosthetics that actually tap intraosseo, I think or it basically goes right into the bone, the whole knee assembly. It's really cool, really expensive. Military guys are getting that as they should, but it's out there for everyone. But anyway, what I wanted to show you is this. When this first started using this, it was a real pain in the keister, tell you what. And had to get help, because it's really tender still, and you're freaked out because of the whole process. So there's this ingenious little device, the 3D printed shrinker donning device. I'm not sure who makes it. I'm sure other people do. I think this was printed locally. This isn't a paid ad, but you can see it comes with instructions and stuff. But it's really cool and it really helps out. And a lot of people don't know about these. And so I wanted to show it to you. I think a guy started out with like a big old coffee can and came up with this idea. But anyway, I'm going to try to do this. Let's see what happens. So basically, see if I remember how to do it. It's been so long as I've done it. Basically, you put it over, of course on camera. Anyway, see, I started it. See what I'm doing there? I'm kind of getting it over. You'll see why in a minute. See, I'm getting it over that cylinder. And me being a bass player, it makes me a drummer too, kind of. Actually, I started out as a drummer first and then moved over to bass, because back in school, everybody played drums and nobody played bass. And there was a guy who was a little bit better on the drums than me, and he had a better drum kit, and I actually was a better bass player. So, but I love the drums. I got a Tama set. Actually, one of my exercises I do is, and then I try to back. It's a real head game, learning back and forth. But stuff like that, you should just always be trying to like, if you're right side dominant, really practice on your left. And because it's all you got, man. But it's weird. I've noticed, at least in my case, I'm right-handed, but because of the brain switch and relearning how to use my leg only for driving and picking up, scooting the remote control across the floor, I've gotten pretty dexterous with it. Anyway, so let me get back to this thing. So you want the end tight like a drum, and you want, you know, those on the outside, and you'll see why in a minute. So this is a pillow that I put an ace wrap on to kind of mimic. Well, because actually the pillow is bigger than the shrinker side, but yeah, I wanted to show off my superior bandaging skills. Not only was I a paramedic, I was a veterinary technician first of all, and my ex-wife was actually a orthopedic technician at her job. So um, I got a lot of practice in the art of wrapping. Anyway, so yeah, okay. Anyway, so you take this, right? Here's your residual limb, and you just put it on the top, and you want it tight like a drum, and you'll see why in a second. So basically, I put it on, I just hold it on, I push it down a little bit, and then I start rolling. You see what I'm doing? See, I'm rolling it down, kind of. I'm not pushing the sleeve, but the sleeve's kind of going down. And it makes putting it on so much easier on your shrinker, on your leg. So that is something I wanted to share with everybody because it made life really easier, because life's not easy when you only got one leg and you're fighting the system. But this video is not about that. So anyway, all my platypus people, thank you again. I'm getting some great response. Almost got 2,000 total views so far. I've got, I think, 14 subs, which, you know, when you look at some other people, but I'm not doing this for the mass audience. I'm doing it for you and your family. I actually got a call today from a friend of mine who got an email last night saying that a friend of hers just basically had an amputation due to a medical emergency. So, it happens. I mean, 1 in 4 Americans are disabled some way or the other. So I'm just here to bring awareness to it. And but I wanted to make this video and show you the shrinker donor. Don't know where you can get them. You can probably find them online. Coffee can. I know for a fact that one was 3D printed. But this is not a paid thing, so I'm not going to pump this guy's product. But I'm sure you can do your research. Anyway, thanks a lot, everybody. Hang in there. Bye.